It has been revealed that there is a U.S. lab inside of China that has been carrying out experiments on the coronavirus. Now, this revelation comes at a time when U.S. intelligence agencies say that they have failed to find any proof or even any serious evidence that the outbreak of the coronavirus was linked to a specific lab inside of Wuhan. In other words, we now know there was a U.S. lab at the same time that the U.S. was trying to blame China for the coronavirus outbreak. The U.S. intelligence community has spent the last 3 months putting together a report on the origins of the Corona-19 virus. A release summary shows that they have produced no detectable insight into how the pandemic started. This is how the report was described by a reporter for the Jeff Bezos-owned Washington Post. Now the summary says, 4 intelligence community elements believe with low confidence the outbreak occurred naturally, up from 2 in May. 1 agency still maintains with moderate confidence that the lab accident was to blame. We don't know which agency arrived at the assessment, the FBI perhaps, or maybe the Defense Intelligence Agency. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is our spies have no idea what happened in Wuhan. Republican Senator Marco Rubio of Florida was dismayed at the results, calling for more intelligence gathering. 90 days was not enough time to break new ground. The intelligence community must keep pursuing new avenues of inquiry until sufficient evidence is gathered to draw a satisfying conclusion. The American people deserve the truth about how the virus emerged, which this assessment did not provide. The Biden administration had been looking for a way to blame China for the COVID-19 outbreak that began roughly in 2019. For U.S. interests, if they could prove that China was responsible, they would then have the justification for new sanctions and an increasingly hostile foreign policy towards the Asian giant. Now, China has always denied being responsible for the outbreak of the coronavirus. Now, this has been a very serious point of contention between both of the superpowers, as both China and the United States have been jockeying for a hegemonic position within the global economy, as well as military powers. Both of them seek to have major influence over the world. However, some new information has come out that casts a shadow upon the U.S. official line on the virus. The Intercept carried out a FOIA lawsuit that has resulted in 900 pages of documentation being released. The paperwork reveals that the U.S. government had been funding a lab in China called EcoHealth Alliance, a U.S.-based health organization. The subject of their work? The coronavirus. They had been studying possible mutations of the virus. Not only that, but they had been investigating the possibilities of the virus jumping from animals to people. This is something certainly significant, something that was actually being covered up by the U.S. government, and something we should keep in mind when looking at the fingers that are pointing blame with regards to the outbreak. The program was called Understanding the Risk of Bat Coronavirus Emergence. Their work was to screen thousands of bat samples in human beings who work with animals. According to The Intercept, the documents contain several critical details about the research in Wuhan, including the fact that key experimental work with humanized mice was conducted at a biosafety Level 3 lab at Wuhan University Center for Animal Experiment, and not the Wuhan Institute of Virology, as was previously assumed. The document raised additional questions about the theory that the pandemic may have begun in a lab accident. Now, before the outbreak actually occurred, people inside the program expressed concern about the dangers of the work that was actually being carried out. Researchers and doctors expressed these concerns to the directors. One of the major things that they were worried about was human contact with bat feces that potentially contained the virus. Alina Chan, a molecular biologist at the Broad Institute, said the documents show that EcoHealth Alliance has reason to take the lab leak theory seriously. In this proposal, they actually point out that they know how risky this work is. They keep talking about people potentially getting bitten, and they keep records of everyone who got bitten. Does EcoHealth have these records? And if not, how can they possibly rule out a research-related accident? With these new revelations about a U.S. lab experimenting with the virus inside of China, many questions do need to be asked. Could this possibly have been leaked from a U.S. lab rather than a Chinese lab, as many people have insisted? What we do know for certain is that the existence of this lab was covered up by the United States government until a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act request could be made, and that the United States, the United States media didn't seem fit to report this for any significant period of time. I'm not saying that the U.S. released this virus into the public by accident or deliberate, but I'm saying that there is definitely enough here to warrant an investigation into a possible U.S. role in the release of the virus. Reporting from Niagara Falls, Jason Unruhe, MRN. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.